So this actually happened. People got $1,000 a month and they could do whatever they wanted with it. Open Research gave away over $39 million. Why would anyone ever give away this much money? Well, they said it was to find out the potential and limitations of unconditional cash transfers. In other words, just to see what would happen, which is pretty gangster. But really, they didn't do this just because. Long story short, AI, robots, automation, the disruption of the globe's workforce, making humans obsolete overnight. You know, that whole thing. We are once again at the beginning of a technological shift, and we need to cushion the impact because when things move too fast, stuff gets broken. So one idea that's being looked into to help humans transition to a new work environment is universal basic income. In short, you give people money with no strings attached and then they spend it. Before we get too deep into the actual research and data, I do want to point out that Open Research probably sounds familiar because OpenAI made ChatGPT, and to keep it simple, Open Research and OpenAI are like cousins. So to some degree, the guys and gals that let AI out of the bag are now trying to figure out if UBI can help cushion the impact of their product. Let's just glaze over that. So what would you do with an extra $1,000? Let me know in the comment section. If we're being honest, I might throw it all into the new Pokemon trading card game coming out later this month. But what if we change the situation? What if instead you got an extra $1,000 a month with no strings attached and you got it every month for 3 years guaranteed? Now we're in a different financial mindset because it's not just a one-time cash injection. It's more money overall, and you know you're getting the money. For some of us, this is future building money. You could save for college, invest, buy a course to learn a new skill. For others, this means the ability to hold off for a better job opportunity, take a sick day when you need it, or even better, actually go to the doctor. Social commentary. For some people, this means they can feed themselves, shower, eat, and sleep in the same place every night. So this data from Open Research is super important because the direction we're going in as a species is at stake. And for the record, I don't hate AI and innovation. Like, I really do appreciate the fact that we're using clocks instead of sundials now. This video is about how we adapt to it. So what happens when you give people a bunch of money? Open Research gave $1,000 a month for 3 years to 1,000 people. And as a control, they gave $50 a month for 3 years to 2,000 people. Recipients had to be below 300% of the federal poverty level for 2020. In English, that means making less than $38,280 a year for a single individual. So for people in the study, even $50 a month went a long way. Payments went out from November of 2020 to October of 2023. And really quickly, if you're enjoying the video, tap that like button. It lets myself and YouTube know to give you more content like this in the future. I talk about money, finance, all the above and more on this channel, so if you're into that, consider subscribing. Here's what Open Research found. On average, people spent $310 more per month, mostly on food, rent, and car expenses. Can you guess what went up in price due to inflation during the experiment? The answer is everything. The average income went down. People worked 1.3 hours less per week, or about 8 days less per year. Blood tests showed there was no long-term evidence of physical health benefits, although there was a 20% decrease in problematic drinking. That's a win. Capital W. Recipients went to doctors and dentists more often, and they spend about $20 more a month on medical care. So what does this all say? Honestly, not a lot, which I'm a little bummed to report. To be fair, there were other findings and a lot of interesting stories and experiences that came from this, which I highly encourage you to look into. Link in the description below. But in regards to the measurable data, for the most part, this is what most people would expect to happen. Over $39 billion, and 3 years later, we found out people prioritize food, shelter, transportation, healthcare, and when they don't have to work literally every minute of their lives just to afford to live, they take some time off to be a human. Like most research findings, this isn't exactly groundbreaking, but it is a start. Thanks to experiments like this, we get data we can use to figure out if this is a viable solution we should be exploring further or maybe even implementing. Now, of course, no experiment is perfect. This study was done during a period of elevated interest rates and rising costs. A small sample of the population was used. It was also privately funded, so like any research, the longer you think about it, the more concerns we can find. This was a social experiment conducted with the intent of gathering data. If something like this were to exist on a larger scale, say a nationwide program, program, someone, or more likely the government, aka taxpayers, would have to fund it, which no matter how it happens would be expensive. And we can't just print money to make it happen. We all know about inflation. And then we throw in more complexity. Who gets this money? How much do they get? And whether something like this even happens at all is an entirely separate issue because politics.
There's a lot of challenges coming up and conversations to be had when it comes to solving this complex problem, and open research has contributed to that conversation and got this data. But in my opinion, we need more of it, because making decisions that affect us all, that affect how we move forward with the new advancements being made, would ideally be based on evidence from studies like this one. Then we can combine and analyze all this data so we can make better decisions. Now, the concern that I have, and you might have this too, is that the larger experiment we all operate in, whether you call it capitalism or something else, is entirely up to you. That thing is constantly running and the variables change. So day to day, we have to do the best we can with what we have. The good news is that humans are very good at adapting to the day-to-day challenges we face. Survival mode is baked into our code, but we need some long-term planning too. Look, we're not stopping innovation, but we do have to figure out how to adapt until we hit human utopia status, where the robots and AI do all the work and humans are free to do anything but that. Universal basic income in some way, shape, or form might be a solution to the problems of the near term and could potentially pave the way for the future ahead. As far as what's going to happen, we'll find out together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.